Hey you guys, the new Pinocchio just came out on Disney Plus. Wait till you hear my review. Another movie review. Now, after watching this review, if you like it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up for me. If you want to see more of me and my movie reviews, go ahead and hit subscribe. And I keep forgetting to tell you guys to leave me some comments. You guys been doing pretty good about it, so go ahead and leave me some comments. So let me jump right into it. It is the movie Pinocchio that has been around since 1940. Now, Disney made this movie a long time ago based off the Italian book by Carlo Collodi, because he is Italian, and it's basically about a little boy that's made out of wood, a puppet, that Geppetto, which is going to be played by Tom Hanks, and stars just a whole bunch of different characters that I'll go ahead and shoot up for you. But what I really liked about it is that Pinocchio was so lifelike. I mean, Robert Zemeckis is the first person that brought my very first animated film that I love, which is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Please, Daddy. I mean, who can say anything about that movie? I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I love it. And then bring you right back up. And that's what we're looking for whenever we see a version of Pinocchio or any of the older Disney movies that have been remade. We want to see that same guidelines that you have in the original ones. Now with Pinocchio, so Pinocchio comes to life with the magic of the blue fairy. So, boop, it's time for my tea. You guys know I gotta keep you up on the tea. Now, there has been a lot of controversy over the fact that you did a race switch of the blue fairy. You know, in the original blue fairy in 1940, she was a blonde hair Caucasian woman fairy that is played by Cynthia Erivo, which is a beautiful black sister. She has the small brown hair, the TWA, teeny weeny afro. I was like, Disney was quick to clap back and say, you know what, times have changed and we have to evolve. Half of you weren't even alive in 1940 when this came out, so what difference does it make? It's fantasy anyway, so actually a person can be any color. Another thing I did like about this movie is that there were so many POCs in this movie. That is a new acronym for people of color. So I love that. I love seeing, people that look like me, that look like a lot of us, seeing them on the big screen, especially with Disney. That's a major bonus. I like that just off the back. I was like, I'm going to love this. So, everybody knows the story of Pinocchio, like I said, that wants to be real. After the blue magic, that's the grease. After the blue fairy, why am I still laughing? Who uses blue magic? I do. I use it on my son. Okay, so after the blue fairy brings him to life, it's up to him to decide what he's going to do with his life. He wants to be a real boy, and he goes off to school with his conscience, which is Jiminy Cricket. Jimmy Cricket is the one that is going to play his voice of reason to help him decide what's right from wrong. In my opinion, I feel he actually was too young to go to school. You actually throw him out there to the wolves, and instead of the wolves, you went into some really sly foxes that try to get him away from what he has to do, which is going to school. But he says, I have to do what my dad says, which is go to school. And I just love that. I love so much about this movie. As you see already, I have nothing bad to say. So it's going to be very few things I have that I didn't like about this movie. I did like the fact that when Tom Hanks, when he first came to life, Tom Hanks' kind of reaction to it. It's kind of like that movie Ted, when the teddy bear came alive. He was like, ah, they were screaming. It was, why are you alive? I was like, that's what I like to see, because that is a realistic response to seeing something that just came to life, that you just made come to life. That Pinocchio, it took me back to being a child, looking at something like this, trying to decide what's right and what's wrong, trying to go back to a child's innocence. And with me having a 9-year-old, I want to see something like that. You know what I'm saying? I want to see something like that. I love the comedy. As you know, with Pinocchio, he has to navigate through this cruel world that has not changed very much. And he gets put into a puppet show doing one of my favorite songs of all time in a Disney movie, which is, I got no strings to move me around. I mean, obviously I can't sing. That's why I'm up here talking to you guys. But I love that part. It is a part that he does in it. And I said it was no spoilers in this, but come on. Everybody know the story. But just listen to this tiny spoiler. But anyway, this tiny spoiler. He is dancing, and it is one thing he is doing with his feet, and he is like messing it up with his feet. He's like, woo, 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 woo. With his feet. Next thing you know, his feet coming on fire. I was like, that is so original, and that is funny. That part was funny, you guys. That wasn't just funny. It was funny. It was. I had to do the whole bow. It was funny. The mean owner that captures him and throws him in there, and then he has to escape. But you have Jiminy Cricket at his side at all times, trying to help him decide what's right from wrong. That's when he realizes that whenever he tells a lie, what's gonna grow? Boop, his nose grows whenever he tells a lie. So that's the first time we kind of see that. And that's something I think. And then we get to the part that everybody knows about, which is when they take the kids to a certain place to drink, to have all this fun, Pleasure Island. And you know what? I think you want to go. And that's what I love about this movie. It messes with your conscience. Do you want to go? Do you know right from wrong? Which I think was unfair, because not only is this boy a puppet that just got outside, he doesn't know right from wrong. That's what he needs Jiminy Cricket for. But anyway, it's like, do you think you should go? And he's like, oh, well, I don't know. I want to go home to my dad. I want to keep my dad proud. And it's like, okay, well, if you go here, you can have fun. Oh, okay, just for a little bit. And sometimes things like that can happen. Peer pressure. Anyway, you go to the Pleasure Island, and the kids are running amok. They just wow. That's called Wiling. They're wiling out, doing all kind of things. But you know what? I love how scared Pinocchio was, because but he knows it's wrong. And I think that happens a lot sometimes with kids or young adults or teenagers. They may get in a situation because it seems cool, and while they're there doing some supposedly cool stuff, they don't like it. It's like inside, but you can't be like Pinocchio, showing that you scared, showing that you don't want to be there. And Pinocchio's like making these faces like, what? Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing that. I mean, they breaking windows. They got a thing where you could get some bricks and break some windows. Them kids need their butt whooped. They really did. But anyway, you can do all these things. You can drink beer, root beer, that is. And that's what happens next. When they drink the root beer, I think everybody knows the story of what happens when they drink that root beer. They turn into a donkey. Now, I thought to myself, that is I like how that goes together. Because in real life, when some people drink too much, they turn into a jackass. They turn into an ass. So I thought it was only fitting when people are drinking, get drunk, they turn into a donkey. But not no little kid. So that gets into another part that I maybe didn't like so much. Yes, they did change it because times have to evolve, and you make things to fit what you think. This is your adaptation of it. This is your version of Pinocchio. So when the kids turn into donkeys after drinking the root beer, you have them you have them being taken away, but it's by a real ghostly, creepy, scary, like a ghost image. What am I trying to say? An image, like a spirit. It reminded me more of Ghost. Remember when they finally got the best friend at the end and the things came up from the ground and snatched them down? That's how it looked, and I kind of wasn't feeling that. That did a little bit different, just a little bit differently. So you still have Pinocchio bow. His ears didn't grow because he didn't just took a little sip of it. I do like the fact when he sees his friend turn into a donkey, he was like, wait a minute, I probably don't need to be drinking this no more. Hold on, I'm about to get them beer goggles in a minute. Something going on. So he started was kind of rushed. I just needed just a little bit more time for you to take just a little more detail into that. Because when you got to the end, you kind of just, ball it up and there you go. So it's not really a whale. It's kind of like an octopus thing, like Sigmund the sea monster. I'm going to leave that up to you to see, because obviously we all know the story of Pinocchio out on Disney Plus. I, of course, am going to give it a dime. Well, I'm going to give it a dime minus because of those two things I didn't like. But everything else I liked. I think this is a wonderful adaptation that Robert Zemeckis did. And until then, I'll see you next time.